Hi, I'm Alexis, and this is my co-teacher, Pa. So this is
Hi.
a lesson plan template. So our content standard is History, Social Science 1.5.1. Um, Students describe the human characteristics of familiar places and the varied backgrounds of American citizens and residents in those places. Our substandard is recognize the ways in which they are all part of the same community, sharing principles, goals, traditions, despite their varied ancestry, the forms of diversity in their school and community, and the benefits and challenges of a diverse population. So we are going to focus with this lesson, we are focusing more on the forms of diversity in their school and community, the students' school and their community that they're in. So we redid our learning objective. So it's History Social Science 1.5.1, and its students will be able to recognize how many different people are in our community and our school. This lesson will take us about 5 to 7 days to complete. So we'll start off the class with me saying, "Good morning, class. Today I and Miss Lee will be going over how many different people make a community and the variety of different people are surrounded by us every day." And then I would ask the question to the class, "Do you guys know what a community is?" And of course, the class is going to say yes or no. These are first graders, so they might have an idea of what a community is, but I'm sure most of them won't really understand. So I would give them the definition of the word community. And I would say a community is a group of people that live in the same place or have a common characteristic within each other. In this case, we are talking about the community we are in right now, which is Fresno, and the school slash the class that we are in right now. So, we could explain that um, we live in a community, but then there's also the school community and then the classroom community. And it's just like a group of individuals, people, and they all share common characteristic. Like, students share like the characteristics of, they're all learning in the school too, being students and all, and then being like residents and stuff like that. The level of Bloom applied in our learning objective is understand. The co-teaching model being used in our lesson is team teaching. So Paul and I will be taking turns throughout the lessons, and then we'll like it'll be a one to teach and one to support, but like we'll both be teaching and going hand in hand with each other, but like also we'll be helping each other, like pass out materials and stuff like that. We also decided that one will teach for the first half of the lesson while the other helps like I said, make sure like everyone is on task, everyone is um, like finishing off, they're doing like fine and stuff like that. And to mention how we would keep the noise level and stuff on task is like like doing like a little chant, like can you hear me once? If you hear me once, clap once. If you hear me twice, clap twice, or something like that. So for the co-teaching model, barrier would probably will be noise level, material setup. Um, we don't know the students' prior knowledge, um, or like if they will be able to focus with two teachers kind of around the classroom. Um, the behaviors, the reactions, and stuff like that. And a solution to that will be review what's missing in the presentation. So, like if I miss something, my co-teacher will kind of start off with that or go over that. Don't keep it in mind that we won't teach as fast or too slow. We have to, keep a constant, like slower pace going and understand that they are first graders, just, transitioning out of kindergarten, which is a little different than first grade. Oh yeah, and then with the noise level, teach students about the noise level use at certain times. So like use the chants, and then explain to them um, like give the rules again and explain the rules again. Like okay, this is the time where we have to be quiet and listen, or this is the time where you guys could talk to each other and stuff like that. So the evidence of mastery, the assessment, students will reach proficiency with 3 out of 5 on the assessment. So we're still like reorganizing this lesson plan, but the assessment that we said was like a printout or a digital form, depending on the student. And each student will need to know the vocabulary words, the definitions to them, and being able to identify correct terms and like what we will be going over, like diversity and like stuff within the community and in our schools. Barriers to that will be students who are not grasping the content. Maybe they're having a hard time reading, difficulties on how to write correctly in form of the grapheme and the phonemes, difficulties holding a pencil, and difficulties staying still. And a solution to that is working with students, being patient. Students that are not grasping that the content, we will like use the pair sharing and more like activities, hands-on activities for those who are hands-on learners and stuff like that. And like go over letters and sounds, like when we're going over vocabulary in the beginning, like going over how to say them correctly, how to use them in a sentence, um, and maybe like provide the students with with the vocabulary word and have them like spell it out on a piece of paper, create their own sentence with it. And then Paul will go over the materials, the equipment, and the vocabulary.
So the materials or the vocabulary word that we're going to use is for our Blues Ptolemy's sessions that we gave from is flashcard, mind maps, and Google Image. And some of the vocabulary word that we're going to introduce with the students is diversity, community, culture, and traditions. And the strategy we're going to have began with a classroom as we take turns is for this part is we'll have each students a flashcard with pictures, short and description of diversity in our communities. And I had each student do a stand up, hands up, pair out, and share with 3 students about the flashcard they have. With the mind map, students draw a circle with a density or a celebration in the middle of the mind map and get example or small detail or drawing in other subgroup to identify the current diversity. And then the Google image, students will, no, teacher will print out a picture for students to build about the community and culture, and with a poster paper, each students will cut out image and build their own um, community and diversity that they have around them. And then they will share with the classroom. Some of the bears with that is difficulty with vocabulary and the variety of adversity and the difficulty.
There, it's recording now.
And the last bears they're going to have is difficulty understanding and describing the image of the meaning and what is going on in the image. So some solution that be with that is we'll go over the vocabulary word with multiple times and testing their knowledge on that. And we also like going to point out like what when they see the vocabulary word do they think about when they see those words, because visual image or something when they think about a word, and that's how being students remembers easily to understand context hooks. And also explanation of diversity in certain subgroup, provide short sentence along with examples, provide pictures, and then talk about it.
And like again, we're still kind of changing a few things with our lesson plan. So it might not make it might not make a lot of sense right now, but we're just kind of going through it right now.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So now to both Paul and I will be going over the engagement and the exploration. So again, the total time of the lesson, it will be 5 to 7 days. So with engagement, we want to get the students' attention. So by that, going over the lesson in the learning objective over again. So of what a community is. So when students seem to grasp the understanding of what a community is, not a nation, they're going into the variety of different people in our community. So in front of the classroom, we will introduce our names to the students. So I would say, okay, class, so let's reread our learning objective as a class. And the students will be able to recognize how many different people are in our community and school. So I'll ask, do you guys remember what community is, or what a community is? And Paul will go over what a community is, which is a group of people that live in the same place or have a common characteristic within each other. It is true that a community is part of a nation, but as now we are going to focus more on those groups that surround us as that we all call community or community diversity. And then I'll respond so now that we understand what a community is, do any of you guys know how many different kinds of people we have in our community? And open that exploration to that, or engage them with that, and that will kind of lead into the exploration. And then I'll finish off. We'll be well, let me tell you, the diversity that we have in our community is a big variety. Do you have anything else to add on to that, Pa?
No, that's good. So we're going to our exploration sessions, right? So explorations, we're gonna be planned to do a station formations where we gonna set up items around the classroom and let the students explore different kind of storybooks, artifacts, pictures, shorts, newsletters, objects from about others' culture with peers and assess stations. And this part, as teachers, we gonna Our role is to observe the students, have the students see all the material, different culture that lay out the classroom, and let them observe as an peer or independently on their own. And then we could walk around with the student and how then engage, be participate and not be off task by asking questions such as how you see these items before to get them engaged so that they could or like say, oh, I had this at home or my family we had this or I have seen this somewhere else. And then we could like have the students come up with questions if they can't, because right now we're also thinking about first grade and their level ability to learn about this. So we just gonna put right here for now how if they're gonna come questions, what kind of question they're gonna have, or if they do not have, where we're going to help them on. And like how it's put right here, for example, how my co-teaching is gonna put like, do any of you know what's culture, your identity with by raise your hands, what culture ethnicity does you and your family identify with? And then for example, students could answer like no, or they will not answer because they might not understand about that part. And then we could go over the method about repeat the question in different words. And then they or some they could know like they could answer like on Spanish or on Americans as a different way. And then how the second question is like, does your family participate in a certain religion, culture, or were born somewhere else? And then the students could like they will answer like, we celebrate Christmas, is that culture or was it religions? And or they could say I'm from Mexico or somewhere else.
Hmm. And
And then
but,
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna add like another form like of exploration is to take it home with them. So maybe like send a student with a handout um, of questions that parents can answer for them because they're first graders and not a lot of these first graders are going to know what religion they participate in, what ethnicity they are, the culture, because they all think everybody's the same and stuff like that, or they don't know like the what like the depth of diversity and cultures and stuff. So like take home like a set of questions that their parents could answer with them. Um, or like now a lot of things are digital based, so we could like send emails to parents like, hey, like this is what we're going over this week. So have your child like bring back with them some answers so we could just like work together as a class and so they understand, talk to them about who they are. So some barriers to that will be students will have misconceptions about the material they observe, difficulties reading the labels of the items. Not every culture items is going to be on the display. Some solutions is write down names and cultures next to the item in order for students to understand where it is coming from and what is used for. Correct the misconceptions students have. Um,
And then
the explanation.
and the explanation sessions, after the exploration, we are thinking about coming back as a classroom where we are going to do the teaching, the team teaching model again, where one will teach and one will support, or then switch all over. So in this way, we are like we have students peers share or tell them about their family, their community. Afterward, they see the explorations and like asking question, what do they not know before, and then after they explore what's the item representing that they see around the classroom and what they think is useful. And then as my for example, my co-partner teaching could go over the vocabulary words one more time, and then she could remember she as a reminder for the students to know and to remember the words. then and the class can like answer like yes, community, traditions, religions in the way that they understand, and she could like how answer like great job for them if they understand. And the explanations part we're doing like is also very related to our evaluations where we're gonna have the students more on to the show and tell activity where they will have the students sit at the carpet as a group, and then we could show them TV as for or the video that they record, and then we could go ask question who want to share first. And for this part, I think if the students are eager, they gonna raise your hands and want to be go first. So after that, like after we switch as a team teaching, others could do like on storybooks read for the students, go into depth, like read some story more from what they explore, like read a story like a celebration of diversity, commandments, and love, or Burning in the New Year's by Grace Lens. All this for students to see the pictures, the image in the books, and to see what they did not see in the classroom that was like the stations materials that was not provided, because it's true that you cannot put all diversity that we have in the United States here or all around California for the students to understand. So it's really we have to think about what's very in the community. So some of the barriers we think that if we have is the student might be coming off task, student might become confused over what they doing. They might have difficulty finding items, difficulty in comprehending and explaining to the classroom about the items, especially if they have like they bring the items or they want to tell what the items they think represents, and they could have difficulty assessing their own understanding. That means like how they explain, but they not might not sure how they're going to understand by their own self or do that. And then some of the solution is that we will refocus things, want get our hands, remind students if they're off task, give students small guidance, write on the board of the steps they need to, and build out stations for students to explore more and with different items. And then give student example about exploration they need to do, like step you write on the board where they need oh, this is a step they need to follow, and after they finish number one they could go number two, number three. That's way I think first way could follow instead of you just tell them go on their own, or you just tell them okay, this is what you're gonna do and then this. So it's better to write something on the board to them to follow when we're doing different assessments. And then Alessia, do you want to add something?
Um, so for explanation, in the show and tell, the show and tell is to get them all engaged of who's in the classroom and who they are surrounded by, and the differences but the similarities in each and one of us. And these first graders, and as a student myself, I'm always curious to learn more about the teacher. So my co-teacher and I will also participate in the show and tell and bring stuff from home and stuff from our cultures and stuff. And as a class, like learning about all of us, we could also like materials and stuff that we could also use in the classes. Stories that are that that our students identify with. So if we have you know like Hispanic students in our class, then read like something with like about like a storybook about like Hispanic culture, Hmong, Chinese, stuff like that. So everyone feels involved, and
Yeah. Or they feel included.
yeah, because myself, I identify as Hispanic, but I am like 5th generation, so I don't know a whole lot about my culture, and like I don't speak Spanish or anything, so I'm sure there's so many students like myself, and learning more about who you are and your culture, your ethnicity, traditions celebrated within your culture is pretty amazing. So we have like some storybooks here, but like I said, we're kind of fixing some things with our lesson plan. So like we have some examples here, like celebration of diversity, and bringing in the new year. And I think bringing in the new year was about Chinese New Year, correct?
Yes,
Yeah, so it was just like different stuff like that.
because that part is like if we yeah, you think about it to think like if we focus on Fresno, we don't usually see we heard the New Year's, the Chinese New Year celebrations, but we don't see it going around online in other areas like San Francisco or San Diego. That's how it is.
Mm-hmm. What else?
So
Okay.
it's like it's a reminder for them that even though we do not have them in our community, the, there are all part of the diversity in our the place that we live, like the state, the country, the nations, that part.
Mm-hmm. And since I think we have like 2 minutes left before our time is up, I'm just gonna kind of go over elaboration. So elaborate on the diversities around our community. Go in depth about who is in our community. Like for instance, like we said, like go over the peers, the teachers. Um, going over how there's a large variety of diversity in the United States, but in our community, there's some groups that are similar within our classroom and outside. For example, African Americans, Asia, like Hmong, white, Hispanic, Native American, and Alaska Native Pacific Islanders, and Indians, or India. Like we all come from a very different background, and that is what considers diversity, because in our community there is not just your own group, but there's other groups too, and that live among you in your streets, in your neighborhood, who you go to school with. So like, why do we need to learn about diversity? So teachers' elaboration. We need to learn about diversity because in our community, because this is a way we can build trust, respect for each other, and when we know their culture and traditions that we value, and they're the same within us. So why do people look differently, or why do families do different things than mine? And we could quickly, just go over that. Not quickly, but go over that and elaborate on why that's important to understand and learn. And the evaluation. So students will like take the assessment about diversity in our community, evaluate who is in their community and stuff, and the show and tell. And then we will be creating posters, and those who don't want to do a poster or are unable to do a poster, I think Paul went over that. They have their different options. Like they could record a video at home with materials they have at home. If they have a video camera at home or webcam at home, they could use that, or bringing stuff from home. So yeah, that's our lesson plan. Do you have anything else to add, Paul?
No, I think that's it. And yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna stop it here.
Mhm.